Hello, it's Scott Manley here with another look at Infinifactory. Okay, so this IKEA-style design is telling me, what it's telling me about is the sensor block and the pusher block. Now, those, well, the sensor basically activates if there's a block next to it, and any pushers or other things that are connected to them will activate. So, here you have a dead-end conveyor belt, and to get stuff off the conveyor belt we have to have a pusher to push things off. So there we have it in my box of tricks. And of course I take full advantage of modern construction marvels to put them into my box of tricks. Yeah, rotate that around and that will push any blocks off the end, but first of all it has to get activated. So we add a sensor pointing down over the top and a conduit to connect these. A quick little bit of a conveyor belt over this way to actually take it to the destination, and our mission is complete, and the aliens' mission is one more step along. You can see the alien spacecraft sitting in the background there. I think this was just right, and it was interesting, and I had fun solving the puzzle. I do not believe I'm qualified to comment. Block sensor, block pusher. Sensors use reflected, deleted particles to detect the presence of blocks. When the block is detected, they broadcast a signal from the conduit points to all adjacent actuators and conduit networks telling them to actuate. Both lateral and downward variants of this are available. Pushers are the simplest type of actuator, extending when a signal is detected and retracting when one is not. They are stronger than conveyors and can easily push blocks off moving conveyors. The arms of pushers are coated with special material that absorbs deleted and makes them invisible to sensors, so you can't have these activating. And then conduits are used to connect sensor blocks to actuator blocks. With many internal wires, they carry data, power and deleted between blocks. If multiple sensors are activated or connected to the same conduit network, all the actuators will trigger if any of the sensors are active. And with those tools and the inert block, you can in fact build, logic. You can build logic gates and everything just by moving physical bits around. Okay, so now we have 3 outputs and 1 input and another unfortunate predecessor, let's say.
Oh, wow. What is that?
Yes, that's what she said.
This must be some sort of shipyard.
My schooner is particularly impressive.
It's amazing. There are tons of ships here. Those little ones docking with that carrier, they must be shuttles or fighters. And
you sound like a spy.
oh, that one looks like a missile cruiser.
I think the aliens execute spies.
Wow, this is a pretty serious armada.
Wonder who they're fighting, eh?
I wonder who they're fighting.
Oh, couldn't have said it better myself. I'm guessing as the story progresses I'll find out more. Okay, so what, if you've been paying attention, what I'm doing here is I've got a little block with 3 spots on it, and that will take 3 items. So basically that'll fill up to 3 items, and the idea is then that out of that come 3 sets of conveyor belts to take the objects to their targets. Now I'm going to use pushers to push them onto these 3 conveyor belts, and I'm only going to activate the pusher when I have 3 items on this, ready to go basically. So we need to put pushers along this section, and they'll all be hooked up to a single sensor which will activate at the last point there. Okay, wait. Oh no, that's a welder. Wrong! There we go. Pusher, pusher, yeah, turn around. There, pusher, pusher. And then we need a sensor right on the end here. Oh, no, not a pusher. We don't actually need a pusher there either, do we? There, sensor facing in. And now we need to connect all of this stuff up with a conduit so that when we are at capacity, everything will be shifted out and pushed onto their final destinations. Okay, here we go. 1, push, push, trigger! Oh, no, that didn't work. A slight mistake there. That one needs to go that way. Almost working. Okay, super fast. There, bingo. Problem solved, and one more step towards the alien armada's goal. I mean, I'm saying this now, I will totally not be surprised if it turns out that I'm helping the aliens invade Earth, because that's just the kind of twist that those writer-type people like to have. Okay, shuttle propulsion units we have to build. Now, what are these? So we have a thing here, and we have another person squished under containers, it would seem. What do you have to say for yourself?
I can't believe I'm here.
I can.
On another planet.
Well, platform.
With aliens. This is amazing, Claudia. Amazing. I can't get over it. The crash at Roswell. The lights over Lubbock. The sightings in Washington, D.C. All the way back to ancient times. Jerusalem and Rome. It was them. The pyramids. Stonehenge. Atlantis. Atlantis is real, by the way. It was all their doing. It must have been. Look at this technology. It's just what was needed to move those massive stones. If only Claudia was here to see this.
Yeah, you may have been surprised to be here, but you were probably even more surprised when that crate fell on you and killed you. Okay, so this one, I've got to create two outputs that are welded together. So again, I'm using this stack of like 5, because I need 5 things to make this. And we're going to use a series of pushers and stuff to get them off the end here. These two, we can't do the welding here, we have to do the welding after we push these items off. So those two will go off into their target. And once again, we'll add a sensor in the last place because we want 5 items, so you want it to only trigger when you have everything. I guess you could call this like a material accumulator or something like that. So we're essentially accumulating sufficient material to make the thing work. So we have a sensor here, then those will trigger. Now we're welding this last group, so we technically only need one of these. You notice how the conduit doesn't go into the welders, and they'll push them off. We will need conveyor belts to convey them to their final location. That should just work there. And this other one, let me just see, you're going to have some welding over the top so that you will have 2 parts and they need to be welded together as they pass through this thing. Now hopefully that will weld rather than just fall onto the ground. Okay, now here we need to move this out this way. It needs to move over a couple of points. There you go, and there, and then into the goal. Okay, let's see if this actually works. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Weld, weld. Bingo! Excellent! How difficult was that? As in, it wasn't difficult at all. Yeah, do you think these aliens built the pyramids? I somehow don't doubt it because the pyramids are made of triangles and these are all cubes. I mean, in Minecraft you can build ziggurats, you can't really build pyramids on account of the sloping sides. Okay, wave detection array. Okay, so no new parts. We have a couple of compound items to be delivered over this way. This will be interesting. Okay, so here I'm going to need 2 of these white blocks, and I'm going to need 1 of these. So this is where I'm going to build my accumulators right at the exit, at the egress point, at the input for this. Turn that around. So that will trigger when we have 2 here, because they should be coming out at the same rate. So we need twice as many items here. We'll then push them sideways. Hopefully that'll work. Shift this over. You hook them all up. You can't have floating blocks. If you have a floating block, it has to be attached to something. Otherwise, what happens is it falls to the ground and your machine fails to work. Generally, you know, things not being attached to stuff is a good plan. I'm just thinking, is there any bodies or any messages around that I'm missing here? Someone to listen to and mock while I'm trying to do this? Nope, I guess I am on my own on this one. Okay, nobody over here? Nope, nothing over here either. Well, yeah, let's just focus on the problem at hand and think about pyramids and stuff. Okay, so we only need 1 of these items. So we should probably have... Oh, no. There we go. Turn that around. Now, of course, this needs to trigger at the same time as those 2, so we need to lay the conduit all over that way. And we now need these things. Come on. Yes, start bringing them out here. So we're going to need to somehow arrange it so that these items get put in the correct location. And this actually might not be... So wait a second, I need to get 1 on each side. Okay. So that's 1 goes that way, and the other... Okay, how do I get 1 on each side? Because they're going to have to cross paths, aren't they? Yeah, I mean, I guess in the previous level where we had to do something like that, we had the object higher up, right? But they're all in the same level, so we need to change the level somehow, or... not sure. I just don't know how to get that to cross over. I guess, at the very least, I should start these things welding here, right? Oh, you know... Okay, let's weld these two. So we've got two items going to be welded together, and then... Yes! Aha! I know what I'm going to do. I could take advantage of the fact that as we get to the end of this, the level shall drop down. So we'll lay the path, lay the conveyor belt, all the way over to the very end. And once it gets to the end, it will drop down a level, and I can maybe shift them sideways and then have the other item drop down into a convenient location so that I can then deliver them to their destination. Okay, so that will fall that way, and then we need pair... Wait a second, we gotta figure this out exactly. So, two items. I need two holes, and then that one will drop down onto that conveyor belt, I think. And then we need to weld this together as well, right? See, this is where I gotta really start thinking through things a little more carefully. And they have to be welded as well somehow, right? So we need to weld these together. And I can't do that, I realise, because I have to lay a conveyor belt all the way from here, right? This one has to come over and somehow has to fall into place. Okay, down this way. You know, the other thing is, this one has to take a little longer, I think, so we add a little bit of a loop around to it to make sure that it takes a little longer and arrives later than the rest of my package. And then drops here, falls down into the slot, and then somehow it has to get welded, but I don't know how to weld it because otherwise it's gonna do that. And since I can't have the welder on top, I can have it here on this side. So everything will flow through there and get weldified all together, and we'll have a happy device. Now we can take this branch out this way and start delivering it towards the kind of end zone. And then we'll have another accumulator here. Oh, but wait a second. No, that's not going to work because these things will get stuck on the welders. So I need this to move that way, another block. One more step. There you go. And from there, it should go, I think. Oh, I don't know. Oh, no, come. There you go. That should work. I don't know if that'll work. I'll try it, and I'll no doubt find that it's wrong, and then we'll start building our accumulator out in this location, right? So it lands, and then we need a whole area that we can put all our items on, and then we can have pushers to push them off and make sure they go to the relevant destination. You see? That is my cunning plan. So one will come off and go this way, and somehow... I'm not sure what end it will grab, because these are compound objects. It's very easy when you have a single object to know which part will get grabbed by the conveyor, but it's not so clear. Oh, you know, here's a... hold on. This might have some I can't push them onto that because there's going to be two items. How about... Okay, let's just move this a little further. One more step. Again, thinking a little harder about exactly the flow of operations here. That's what this thing does my head in, because I instead of experimenting, I tend to try and build the thing out in my head first. And I want to make sure it runs first time. And that doesn't always happen. It would be especially embarrassing every time I run this thing and it doesn't work, right? Okay, no, I don't need that there. I'm gonna build a platform for all my fantastic stuff. We need a sensor. But I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing pushed off, right? So the first one should go just fine. It should slide off of there along the conveyor and deliver itself to the target. But on this side, I want to push it towards that completion, I guess we call them outputs. We don't actually have names because the alien language hasn't been specified yet. So I don't think that's going to work. I think I need to be a little more creative. Just trying to think. Okay, see, I'm speaking less as my brain is working more. I'm undoing things before I've even tested them. Gotta be sure this will work first time. Yeah, look. Okay, so here's the thing. If they arrive, right, then the first one will land here, and it'll sit still patiently awaiting the next one. Now we're gonna have a pusher which will push this one along, you know, off to the top of the screen, and the other one, if we slide this along here, we should have the pusher right here, and it'll push it onto that conveyor belt, right? That's what I think. No, wait, sensor, where did I put that? I should not have put that there. I need to have a pusher, and the pusher goes right there. And now we need a sensor to trigger on this, to trigger the moment we see, and we can actually just use... Oh, do we need more conduit? We don't. We just put the sensor right there. So that will trigger as soon as the second item gets pushed, and will push everything in both directions. And the product should move to its destination. And I think that is the solution. Let's see how close I am. So we get stuff welded, takes the little excursion, this thing falls down, lands, gets welded, and goes the wrong way. Okay, mostly there. Mostly just a little bit of adjustment to be done here. What's the fastest way to adjust this thing without tearing the whole thing out? Here's I guess my problem that I have is that using this, if you build a really complicated mechanism and you find that it's out by one block, it can sometimes be incredibly hard to make it work again. Sometimes you have to literally disassemble the whole thing, and I'm trying to figure out how to not disassemble the whole thing. You know, one thing I've realized though is this extra loop here is kind of unnecessary. I think... Hold on. I think this here, just turn that. We don't need these, right? We don't need these extra bits, because these will just push through. And we just need to have this. We don't need the stuff on the other side. Ha 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 ha! See, here's me wasting all that time and effort on something which is completely unnecessary. Okay, work, run through, and once again you landed the wrong way. Okay. How come this is... This was so easy, this is so obvious, but every time I move it by one block, the target block shifts by 3. Clearly not understanding how compound objects manipulate or maneuver their way around this production line here. They have too much momentum when I need them to have too little, and they have too little when I need them to have lots. Okay, take this out once again. Put that there, and this should go that way. So now we actually need to move this all along one step, right? We're going to move this stuff because this is the least amount of hardware involved. There we go. And we just need another grey one here, another inert block. Okay, this should work. This time, yes! And in you go! And now the second one comes along, pushes it in. Sensor triggers, one is delivered, and no! No! Ah! Come on. Ugh. This is frustrating, but this is going to be the final victorious demonstration of this. Whatever this Hujua flip it is that I'm building, it is finally being delivered to the aliens. Excellent, I think we're almost at 20 minutes, so this is probably a good time for me to finish up. I'm going to play a little more through Infinifactory, but you'll see that in future episodes. Until then, I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.